We're going to take a look at the names of the teams in our league, and I want you to tell me, are they good names or are they bad names, okay? Okay. Chris just changed his name. His name is I'm All In.
Good.
Oh, so you like it? All right. I'm Bateman. Do you like that?
No.
You don't like that name?
Yes.
You do like it?
Yes.
Okay. Abanikanda Forever.
Good.
Abanikanda?
Yeah.
You like it?
Yeah.
Get out of Jalen free card.
Oh, I love that.
You do?
Yeah.
Is that your favorite?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What's my team's name?
The Ducks.
You like the Ducks?
Yeah.
Is that your favorite?
Yeah, because you're at the Ducks right now, and that's your team name.
Pitts Creek. What do you think about that?
Bad.
You don't like it?
Yeah. Like they're underground in a whole pit of lava.
Yeah, that's exactly it. AR5 to the moon.
Good.
Van Gundy's guys. What do you think about Van Gundy's guys?
That's Brian's.
Yeah.
Good.
Tailor Made. What do you think about Tailor Made?
Oh, good, good, good.
The London Silly Nannies.
Good.
All right.
Make bad. Bad.
Which one of these is your favorite team name?
The AJs and the Ducks. Bye-bye. I hope you have. Just don't be lazy. Bye-bye.
All right. Since we're post-draft right now, I thought I would go through some of the teams. In Dynasty Fantasy Football, one of the hardest things to do is to know kind of like where you're at in either a rebuild, when it's time to cash in on the value to try to get future assets. These are just my thoughts on what I would do if I was the owner of this team. What would I do if I was Riddy 20? You've got the core of his team is actually pretty based in Josh Allen as a quarterback. We got Josh Jacobs and Tony Pollard, DeAndre Hopkins and Michael Thomas, and George Kittle as like his core starters every single week. So it's just a really strange lineup, and I don't mean that necessarily in a bad way. It's just I'm not really sure what I would do here. So this was, I thought, an interesting case study as to should he try to hold out and just like squeeze another year out of this roster, because he's got two starting running backs that are solid options in Josh Jacobs and Tony Pollard. I think you have a couple of options here. I think if you're going to plan for the future, what I would do is I would sell both of them immediately. I don't know if either of their values are going to be any better after this moment right now. I would go ahead and try to sell them for future picks and perhaps an up-and-coming asset that isn't going to be as expensive right now. But Tony Pollard especially, I really think that he has a good chance to break out in redraft, but I'm not sure about in Dynasty his shelf life. But I think for the rest of his build, I'm looking at DeAndre Hopkins and Michael Thomas being your starting wide receivers, and you don't really love that. I mean, obviously Hopkins he had some really nice highlights in camp. He might have a good year this year, but after that, I mean, it's really an unknown. I think I would sell. I know this is a hard one, but for me personally, I think I would sell Josh Jacobs and Tony Pollard immediately. I would sell DeAndre Hopkins immediately to somebody who is trying to contend, because those are depreciating assets. I think maybe all except for Josh Jacobs. He may have seen his best season, but honestly, for me, I would hold on to Josh Allen. I would immediately trade Tony Pollard, DeAndre Hopkins, and George Kittle, all three of them. I would try to acquire future picks. Not really sure what type of trade value you can get for those, but definitely I would be looking to sell Bryce Young, CJ Stroud, one of them. Obviously, you can keep one for the future, but obviously got Josh Allen, so I would try to sell at least one of them to see what kind of asset you could get for them, especially if one of them pops off. So that's where I would be going for this team right here. So we're going to go with Team Tailor Made here. So Team Tailor Made, we've got his core, Justin Herbert, we've got Austin Eckler, Jonathan Taylor at the running back positions. We got Debo and Terry McLaurin. We got Travis Kelce. And then he's flexing Joe Mixon, Tyler Lockett. So he's got a solid core. And this is no surprise. He won the championship, not last season, but the season before. When Austin Eckler falls into your lap, that's the best value probably of our startup draft. But honestly, right now, so you're looking at this year still being a contender. In 2 years, that 2025 draft is probably going to be your rebuild. Yeah, he's got his 2024 5 and 6 picks. He's got all of them. You've got 33-year-old Travis Kelce. You've got Jonathan Taylor, who I think is going to play this year, but he's having some turmoil in Indianapolis. You've got Austin Eckler, who is 28 years old, but everybody expects this to be his last highly productive season. In terms of how wide receiver cores go, it's pretty mid. You're looking at Debo and Terry McLaurin being your best two options, which is fine. I mean, they're fine options, but you're not setting the world on fire. This might not be the most popular advice, but I actually think I would go ahead and trade my 2024 picks. Even though a lot of people say it's going to be a good draft, I'm not really sure how deep it's going to be. Obviously, everybody's looking at Marvin Harrison. You know, there's a lot of top heavy, I guess is the word I'm hearing about this draft. So what I would think about doing is trading that 2024 pick and kind of make this kind of like a last dance kind of deal. Because even if you acquire a piece, let's say that you trade, you could trade away Austin Eckler. You're not going to get fair value for him just because it's a dynasty league. You could trade away Jonathan Taylor. He's going through a lot of turmoil right now. Debo Samuel, you could look at trading him, but he had a terrible year last year according to his standards. Travis Kelce, like I said, 33 years old. So honestly, you could try to sell for the future, but that's probably not your best bet. I would trade the 2024 first round pick, and I would try to get a better flex or a better wide receiver 2 position for that. And if that's something that you could pair together, I would be looking at pairing like Terry McLaurin plus a 2024 first for a better wide receiver option, or Debo, depending on whoever you're trading with and who they like. So that would be my advice, and then I think I would start rebuilding in 2025. This is one that I'm not sure about. All right, we've got I'm Bateman. Holy cow. I don't know what to do with this team. It is a lot of question marks. George Pickens, obviously, the highlight reels are amazing and he's really young, but his quarterback scenario is questionable at best. James Conner, obviously super talented, very underrated, but he's 28, gets hurt all the time, and he's on a terrible offense. Rachaad White, I just have a hard time believing that after this year, his workhorse role is just going to be in question. Hollywood Brown obviously could have a really good year. I just feel like this team is devoid of any difference makers. Kenneth Walker was going to be your difference maker, and with the draft of Charbonnet, it's in question. So there's a lot of question marks here, and I actually just would not like to be in the position that you're in. There are a lot of good teams in this league. I would be trying to sell. I would be trying to package multiple players to try to upgrade, because, like I said, you have quite a few assets, but you don't have very many difference makers. I would plan on being a lottery team this year, and I would be selling like crazy James Conner, especially if he gets off to a hot start. Even Mike Williams, I would be selling him. I would be keeping George Pickens just in case. I would even consider selling Rachaad White, especially if he starts popping off. What I would be trying to do is seriously package, even if you only get one or two assets out of it. If you take one or two, difference making RB1, RB2, wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2 assets, and then you add your draft picks in 24 and 25 to that roster, I think then you can start to have a difference making team. But honestly, this team is it looks like a 500 team that could be 500 for years. And I think that's probably the worst place to be. You don't really want to be middle of the pack. So I would just try to sell, acquire these difference making assets and see kind of where that can take you. So, all right. So this has been super long. Sorry about that. Thanks for making it all the way to the end if you cared to. You guys are the best league ever. You guys are salt of the earth. The Loaf is the best fantasy league that has ever existed because of you guys. So thanks so much. Until next time, see ya.